Hi guys, welcome back. I'm gonna try and do some commentary for a few race clips. So this is not a full race, this is a series of videos that I just put together from the Zwift women's racing that happened this summer. This is possibly one of my favorite series. It's kind of set up like ZRL, but it was only for women. And now we're actually kind of following more of this pattern for race styles. Although we aren't doing team time trials this summer, which we do for ZRL, we did individual time trials, scratch races, and points races. There were groups of 6 races in a series, and then they'd restart and just kind of reset the points. So you would do 6 races, gain points from those for various different things. And it was really fun. Great group of women. It was always a really nice size for the C category of how many people were there. They were like really perfect for me. I mean, I'm never great at the time trials, but the points races, the scratch races, everything was super fun. So we're just going to kind of go over some of these and mostly focusing on the sprints because that's what I love. That's what I do best at. So just kind of doing some technique stuff, having some fun watching where I learned some stuff, where I did really well with things that I already know, and just having fun. Got some teammates to come do some of these. I got to do the first 6 weeks all the way through, and then the rest of the summer I had to kind of skip some, just do as many as I could. But I'll show you what I got and some of the fun courses that we got to do together. Alright, so this is the second race I did. The first was a time trial, and it was okay. This one of my absolute favorite races to do 1 lap of Innsbruck Ring, and I got first place. I had a really nice sprint at the finish, and this course is just a great course for me, especially as 1 lap. I mean, I do really like 2 laps as well, but to me, the 1 lap, you've got the leg snapper, which is about a minute effort straight up, and then it goes immediately back down. So I can recover because I can super tuck if I'm like on the front and stuff. And then it's just flat to the finish, and you can see the finish for quite a ways, like almost a mile. So I just know how to be patient and wait for the sprint. And then if nobody's going, I just go because I know my timing on this one. So super fun, first place, great start to the race. All right, I think 2 races later, we have a points race. So this is on Richmond Roller Coaster. Another really great course for me because we have these really short punchy climbs as well as these straight flat sprints that I really love. And so these sprints would be only FTS, which is also another really awesome thing for me. FTS is definitely my jam. I'm not always in the front group, but I can always get a good time on a sprint. So all of these, it didn't matter who came across the line first. All that matters is this little column on the left side that tells you how fast your sprint was and how you were getting speed compared to everyone else in your race. So if you started further back from someone and closed the gap, even if they still beat you to the line, you won the points. That's just how this works with the fastest through the segment. And I really enjoyed this. So let's just kind of talk about some of these sprints for just a little bit. So this should be the second time through this sprint. You can see in the little lap counter that we're gonna have 4 of these laps on this course. So I believe this is the second time, and just got some really good speed. I mean, you can see my numbers were super high. Here's the next lap. Same thing, hitting some good 700 watts even after racing for over 30 minutes, close to 800. Right there at that peak, really trying to catch Judith there. We had such a good battle this series. She's a really strong sprinter. This racer, also from Swedish Zwifter, is super strong, and this is the end of the race right here. So that was the last sprint, and I just didn't time it well. Here you can see she's already had the speed built up, and I should have realized that this is the last one. So the FTS did not count as much for that segment because it's the finish. But because I did so well on the rest of the segments, the points here you can see, this is how many I got first place on. So I got the fastest time for one of the sprints, like the really short sprint, and then the repeated sprint, multiple first places. And I got so many points with that, even though I got third in the race overall. Those points added to my sprint points got me on top. So awesome race. If you're really good at FTS, I highly recommend anything on Richmond's course that has the sprints, like the Fan Flats, even the Richmond roller coaster, because you get over those climbs so early on in the race, and then you can use your skills really well in the sprints. All right, so here's the second to last race in this 6-week series. So this is race number 5. 16 laps on the crit course, which I was like, okay, this is really long. And it was really long. But I really hope we can do this for ZRL at some point, just to have a crit. Like, it's super fun. And yeah, you're doing a bunch of laps. But just this idea, I feel like, would be great to do as a points race. We don't often do the kicker climb inside the crit course as a segment. Like, normally when you sign up for Downtown Dolphin, you're just signing up for however many lap crit race, or like there's FAL at the finish line each lap. But to actually use FTS up the little kicker climb, that was great. It was a lot of times, and so you can see I win this race, but I actually end up in second because Joe, who's been another incredible sprinter this series, just gets enough of the sprints over me. She gets so many points and is super strong. But wow, what a great battle that we had on Downtown Dolphin. So let's just briefly just go over what was going on in this race, and then we'll move on to just a few more races. All right, so here is the sprint segment up the little kicker. Just randomly inside lap 3, Zwift was like, here, let's save this segment. We're not going to save all 16 that you go through, but this was a good one to show. I got second place at some point up this climb. I don't remember which lap it was, but this is just such a good example of the craziness of everyone just ripping it to the top of the climb. And yeah, super intense to do this so many times, but for me it was good because it really did sit up in between each sprint, which is so helpful for me. So many times it feels like everyone wants to just go crazy, but this race is long. It ends up being over 45 minutes, so people know we can't keep doing this. And the point are the points. People realize the point of this race was the points, and that you're capable of receiving points 16 times per lap. So there's not really any point in ripping it and not getting high points in the segment itself, because then you're only getting finishing points and it's not going to help you. So this was great for me, and people really worked on what was important in the race itself. All right, and then here's the finishing sprint. There was no need to really show you any more of the sprint segments. Once you saw one, that was basically how they all were. And here's the finish. I was prepared this time for the final sprint. I wasn't going to let anybody have more speed than me coming around this corner, and just really kicked it. I had the giraffe very nicely, and you can see that Joe, Graham, and I both are the ones that are just, we're going. We're still in orange. We're the only ones that still have orange watt numbers. And I think Joe gets pipped at the line, so she doesn't quite, oh no, she does get second place behind me, that's right, but she was able to take enough of the segment points that she ends up getting first for the race. But here are all the segments, and yeah, you can see how many Joe got. Judith also was getting some, so it was really well spread between the top, I would say 5. Like, there were just lots of different people getting first, second, third, fourth, fifth. super great. But I was really pleased with that finish. Still be hitting many watts. That's a really high number after 45 minutes of doing 16 intervals, basically. So super fun race. This was a really great series. I'm just gonna showcase a few more now. As the series went on, I wasn't able to be as consistent just with in real life racing, but a few more to show, and that'll be it. I forgot I did have one clip from the last race. This was the Muckle. So I'm still working on getting this course to work well for me. The climb is just long enough that it's tricky to stay on with people that are true climbers, and people are super strong. I always do well on the breakaway bray, the short climb, and the champion sprint and the kicker climb. Those are all included in this one Scotland course, but the Skur, both directions, wow, super challenging. Still working on that. I do well on the segments, not well on the finishing points, but that's okay. I just figured I'd show my moment of glory in my sprint up breakaway bray real quick. Now we'll move on to the next race, which is the first scratch race of the next series that started back up. All right, another short scratch race, 5.5-ish miles. Once again, I fail in my use of power-up and timing, and Louise gets me. This was super fun because I had at least two teammates with me. Three teammates in this race with me. Short scratch race, love these. Kind of similar to the Innsbruck, but just didn't time it right, and that's okay. Still a really great sprint. I actually hit some really high numbers. If you see on the right here, I've highlighted the 12.5 watts per kilogram that I hit for 15 seconds. Once again, I just did not time it correctly, but still great race, second place. Great start for this series here. All right, this is the same person, and I am not gonna let it happen again. Once again, I learn, and I know I need to go first. So in this race here, which I think was a points race. Now I need to look this up because I know I had to skip some races, but it almost feels like a scratch race. So maybe this was the other scratch race in the series, but I do not let her get me this time. There we go, first place. Up breakaway bray, also one of my favorite finishes. If I can survive the rest of the course, the little bump right before the breakaway bray, I really like this finish. All right, this is one of the points races from this second series, and a great example of I do really well in the segments, but I end up off the back at the end of the race, so I'm just working on segments. I do pretty good. I mean, I finished like 30th something, and with my points, I move up to like 14th. So I do really well with the segments, and that's what I like to highlight and feature. So we'll just focus on those through this race, and you can see one or two of the segments. First sprint, over 900 watts. I must have just been feeling great this day. Easily take this sprint by over a second, like 1.5 seconds, which is just huge. So great here. Here I'm by myself for the second time through this sprint. This one's pretty long. So you can see my previous one was 19.79 seconds. I improve my time all by myself, but I still don't quite hit the fastest time. And so there you go. I end up in 16th place, even though my race place was 30th something. And then here you can see where I took first place on 4 different segments throughout. All right, last race that I'm going to be highlighting in this video. Thanks so much again for watching. Here, once again, we've just got some fun sprints. So this is a McCurry Castle Park sprint. Once again, FTS, so I'm not worried about catching this person. I just need to be faster across the line, which I am. Or I should say fastest from point A to point B. Alley sprint, this is a long one. This one's always so hard for FTS because you just have to keep going. It's so very long. I end up 4th for this one, just under 30 seconds. I mean, that just tells you how long that sprint is. And then I'm by myself once again, struggled to stay with the group with this course. The pace in between was just really high. never my ideal situation. When people do not sit up between the segments, I really struggle. So they got me on this one, but I really did enjoy all the different segments. I did really well with these two here. Tower sprint, that's a hard one. 17 seconds is a very awkward amount of time. So I think everything really was good. You can see I have good examples of sprinting in a pack as well as sprinting by myself. I'll just kind of run through those one more time, let you kind of see where I'm gaining my speed, what I'm coming in with, and thanks again for watching.